In this world, there is an orphanage with amazing children who cannot be found anywhere else. That's why no one wants to be the parent of these poor innocent souls. However, people you never expected to dream of being parents were the ones who adopted these children. From today, this man will be the father of one of these angelic children from this orphanage. In this place, the children receive a special education. The girl you see crying is sad because her brother left with his new father. The nun, with hunter's eyes, says it's time for training and, as you can see, they are the youngest target eliminators that exist. The nun scolds one of the children, telling her she doesn't need to let her nose run while crying, and if she keeps behaving like that, she'll never be adopted. Ellie then throws away her load and says she'll remember that. The priest says that his orphanage raises children to be weapons as soon as they start walking. They were rigorously trained to be the best. It's up to the parents to decide how they will use them. He shows the photos of the targets to the child. I don't know if, besides this work, other tasks can be assigned to them. I hope not. The orphanage teaches an absolute rule, implanted in the children from a young age, known as the 3 principles. They must obey and control the orders of the buyer. The buyer says, "This is your target. Memorize his face." The boy memorizes it but warns his father that a car is following them. The father questions what he's talking about and yells at him to shut up and just follow orders. Memorize this now. The first principle is that the father's orders are absolute. Then, the car is hit by another car and spins on the road. The unlucky boy broke the record for the fastest orphan to become an orphan again. The second principle is not to use abilities without parental permission. In the car, his new father couldn't give the order for his son to act. While outside, heavily armed people were ready to ensure the target was eliminated. As they cautiously approached the overturned car, they noticed a boy crying and begging for help, screaming that his father wasn't breathing. The men were surprised to see this, as the target had no children. They decided to move the boy away to finish the job. Then we discover the third principle. Ignore the first 2 principles if the parent's safety is threatened. He then grabs the enemy's weapon before the other assassin realizes what's happening. When he sees the boy pointing the gun at him, it's already too late. Sometime later, the orphanage director shows his catalog of children for adoption. Each of them has unique abilities, and he couldn't be more proud of them. But if none of these children are to the contractor's liking, the old man puts the registry book in the drawer and takes out the file of a child who has the best skills of all, although he was once considered a defective product. The creepy priest says the body was never found, and since the children can't use their abilities without parental authorization, they never found him. But they will never stop looking. He will definitely find him since this child is probably living hidden somewhere, leading a normal life. It seems that this defective product is being bullied by a group of school bullies. After taking a punch, he falls to the ground, writhing in agony from the blow to the stomach. This guy, Yusuf, with disgusting eyes, asks Hyunho how many points he would give for that punch. The boy stammers, "It was a score of 180,000 points. The other bullies in the group say it's Yusuf's new record with a punch. A blonde boy pushes the bully and runs to Hyunho, eager to know how many points his punch can score. Yusuf gets irritated at being touched by a poor person. Hyunho knew that when Yusuf gets angry, he takes out his anger on him. But the blonde boy, named Cheyenne, says this machine is broken, and his score should be more than 180,000 too. Yusuf calmly walks up to the blonde boy and, when he gets there, gives him a good slap in the face, casually saying, "Only I can hit him, got it?" Although Cheyenne hates the humiliation of that slap, he swallows his pride and says that indeed Yusuf's blows have more than 180,000 points. Yusuf walks away casually, telling Cheyenne to buy him a cigarette when he returns. But he tells the protagonist that next time, he will defeat Yusuf. Meanwhile, the protagonist is totally tired of all this nonsense from these idiots because he knows he could take them all down at once. Still, he plays the role of a weak fool. Cheyenne puts him in a chokehold, demanding to know if Yusuf's punch is really better than his. It seems our protagonist is a punching bag even for his friends. They go to eat to regain energy, and this time Hyunho is paying. Cheyenne is out of money because Yusuf takes all his money too. If he refuses, it would mean Hyunho isn't a true friend. Suddenly, Cheyenne notices that the snack shop has the same name as Hyunho, and our boy didn't want to admit that his mother owns this shop. At that moment, his mother also appears and says that her son's friends can eat as much as they want. The secret Hyunho was hiding has just been exposed. He was trying to keep it a secret all this time, and he doesn't understand why his truth had to be revealed by this shameless idiot who's licking his lips, probably eager to enjoy more free food. Seeing that Cheyenne was about to say something wrong to his mother, Hyunho grabs his pen, ready to poke Cheyenne's eyes out if he tries anything suspicious. But before he could be stabbed, the blonde boy surprises him by apologizing for not introducing himself properly before. He introduces himself as Cheyenne Park, Hyunho's friend, and comments that he finally understands why the shop has such a unique name. Hyunho's mother laughs at the joke and mentions that her son asked to keep it a secret. Cheyenne then teases his friend, saying he's upset because his friend hid such a hardworking mother. Hyunho, already completely irritated with this guy, tells his mother they need to leave because other friends are waiting for them. The woman packs some food in a plastic bag and hands it to Cheyenne, telling him to share it with the others. She happily claims that all Hyunho's friends are like her children, so Cheyenne can take it for free. While the son tries to convince his mother that it's really not necessary, she tries to be very kind. He takes the food without a second thought, completely ignoring Hyunho, who is feeling quite pathetic because no one is his friend. The protagonist then begs Cheyenne not to share the food with Yusef or anyone else. Cheyenne agrees with a smile and says goodbye. Hyunho's mother tells him to bring more friends next time. Well, that's exactly what Hyunho was trying to avoid. He considers that he's screwed now and yells at his mother, saying she was supposed to pretend not to know him. Why didn't she do that? These cruel words came out of his mouth, but inside, Hyunho felt he was being cruel to the wrong person. His kind mother apologizes for trying to thank the friends for taking good care of her son. Hyunho squeezes his frustration and says nothing more. The next day at school, Hyunho sees the same tekbaki his mother makes, right in front of him. Apparently, Yusef found out that Hyunho's mother sells snacks on the street, so he got a bowl for himself. Yusef grabs a dirty rag, dips it in the bowl of tekbaki, and starts rubbing it on Hyunho's face, demanding a refund because he can't eat dirt. To make matters worse, Yusef asks if his friend is mad at him, saying it's just a joke between friends. Hyunho is absolutely furious with Cheyenne. Despite him begging to keep it a secret, he revealed it to everyone. Yusef pours the entire bowl of tekbaki over Hyunho. That was his limit. Hyunho already has his pen in hand, and before Yusef realizes something is happening, he doesn't hesitate to stab the pen straight into Yusef's throat. However, his hand stops a few inches from the target, trembling as he struggles to control himself. Yusef, who didn't expect any reaction from his friend, gets even more irritated, demanding to know what the hell Hyunho thinks he's doing. Sometime later, Cheyenne enters the classroom and finds everyone in silence. This is very strange. The place is a mess. Security guards are on the scene. The window is broken, there's blood splattered on the floor, and Hyunho's glasses are broken on the ground. It seems that something very serious just happened in this room. Guys, Hyunho was mercilessly beaten for about 15 minutes straight that day. He begged for mercy and lost consciousness several times while writhing in pain. Despite his pleas, Yusef didn't stop and continued the beating. When Hyunho couldn't take it anymore and looked out the nearby window, he ended his own suffering. This happened a few days ago, and since then, his mother's humble shop hasn't opened to sell food. In this place, Yusef felt no guilt while assaulting his own lungs. He tells his friends to confess that they were the ones who accidentally pushed Hyunho out the window while they were playing. His friends, despite not wanting to take the blame, were convinced by Yusef. He mentions a law in Korea known as the juvenile law. Even so, even if they take the blame, they will be prosecuted by the lady too. Yusef simply says he's taken care of that as well. If they eliminate Hyunho's only living relative, there will be no one to file the lawsuit. This bag with 10 million won will be a reward for them. While there are cruel and disgusting cowards in this world, an honest and kind mother cries, without hope of moving on. Her only treasure was taken from her. My heart ached to see this. When dawn arrives, Yusef and his goons put on their masks and head straight to the 5th floor. However, when they tried to use the elevator, it seems to be out of service, so they opt to take the stairs. As they climb, they discover the elevator is jammed with a fire extinguisher, preventing it from descending. Before Yusef can figure out who did this, a familiar voice calls out to them. Cheyenne says it's rude to keep people waiting so long. Yusef wants to know what the hell he's doing there, but Cheyenne just says he has 2 questions for them. How did they find out about Hyunho's tekbaki? Yusef casually pulls off his mask and explains that when Cheyenne didn't bring the cigarettes he was supposed to, Yusef followed him and saw him leaving with the neighborhood kids. That's when he spotted Hyunho arguing with his mother. Cheyenne realizes it was because of him that these goons discovered the place. Now he asks his second question and tells Yusef to think carefully before answering. Why are they here? Yusef brandishes his big iron pipe and says they're here to see Hyunho's mother, who is sleeping peacefully after filing a lawsuit against them. He says he's also glad Cheyenne is there too because he's been annoying him lately. Yusef remembers the push and knows that Cheyenne was just pretending to bully Hyunho and was actually trying to protect him all along. With the doubts cleared up, the normal conversation ends, and the conversation that works with people like Yusef begins. Leave a like on the video if you agree with me. Cheyenne grabs the fire extinguisher and says he was expecting this. He pulls the pin from the extinguisher and sprays it on all of them. Unable to see anything around them, one of the thugs notices a fire extinguisher coming straight at him, and it falls on Yusef. Of course, the coward doesn't care about his friends. On the stairs, he can see their shadows fighting and tries to hit Cheyenne directly. The blonde spins his extinguisher and then breaks all the bones in Yusef's foot, making his supreme sneakers even redder inside. He heard the frightening sound and fell, screaming that it's broken. He tries to support his foot and is sure he can't walk on it now. Yusef asks why Cheyenne is doing this to him. After all, that's when Cheyenne blows our minds. He explains that there are 3 principles imprinted in his mind since childhood. First, a father's word is absolute. Second, do not use your abilities without your parents' permission. The other thugs on the ground are completely confused, not understanding a word of what this crazy guy is saying. I'm stunned. The story made us think Hyunho was the missing boy, but in fact, it's Cheyenne who is the defective product that disappeared. Breaking the bones in his foot was just the beginning. Our protagonist was ready to break other things as well. Yusef begged to be spared, saying he's sorry for doing anything against Cheyenne. Our protagonist says that the third principle is the most important. In case of a threat to the parent's safety, disregard the first 2 rules and deal with the situation. Yusef now has his foot, teeth, and hand broken. Cheyenne says that Hyunho's mother mentioned that all her son's friends were like children to her too, so threatening her authorized him to neutralize the threat. The same fate that befell Hyunho was given to the 3 who were with Yusef. Now we return to the orphanage. The nun came to deliver a call directly from Korea. She says it's from the White Tiger Central. For those who know Lookism, this name is familiar. The priest, of course, recognizes it and answers the call. The director of White Tiger Central informs him that they have found him, the lost legend of the Mansion of Death. He is now known as Sean and is in South Korea. Among the children raised by the Mansion of Death, he was the perfect masterpiece. Whether it was infiltration, weapon skills, or even assassinations, he excelled at everything. The most perfect creation should have been sent to the Yakuza family, who are their main clients. However, a mistake sent him to Korea, and that was 5 years ago. Hearing this news made the priest thank the heavens for their kindness. He then ordered that he be brought back by any means necessary. This mission was given to Rachel. She removes her traditional clothes and reveals that underneath lies a machine of seduction and combat. Behold the instructor of the Mansion of Death, Rachel. The priest insists to the girl that the mission is a rescue, not an elimination, so leave those weapons and change clothes. In the next scene, we see Kwon Byung-woo, Yusef's father, apologizing to Hyunho's mother. He promises to cover all medical expenses, moral damages, and any other compensation she may need, but the woman states that nothing will change with just an apology because this is not something that can be resolved with words. Since that didn't work, the man raises his head and says he'll leave then. The man is identical to his son. He says things must be efficient, and if apologies aren't enough since she has no intention of reaching an agreement, he returns to the car and says there are other means to resolve this situation. The wealthy man asks if they've already dealt with that boy. The manager informs him that his people are already on their way and that the secretary will notify him as soon as the job is done. While the father is as much of a jerk as the son, we find out that despite the broken bones, Yusef survived and is in a hospital. The son tells the father that that boy was very strange and kept talking about the 3 principles or something like that. The father asks the nurse to wait outside because he has something to discuss privately with his son. When the woman gives them privacy, the man then slaps Yusef across the face. What really bothers him isn't just the fact that his son started a fight, bullied some kids, and made one of them jump out the window. No, what really bothers him is that Yusef didn't clean up the mess afterward, leaving a mess behind. The basics of business are to never have to do something twice. Failing to resolve things is the most annoying. Byung-woo tells his son to watch carefully and learn from this opportunity to fix things. Sean is getting beaten up by a group of thugs sent by Byung-woo. The leader, wearing gloves, watches as his thugs drag the injured boy off the ground. With a cold expression, he delivers a series of slaps until Sean collapses from exhaustion. The thug with glasses, looking down with a cynical smile, tells Sean that although he may have beaten some kids, he's nothing against adults. They grab one of Sean's arms, and the thug pulls it hard, holding it tight. The leader then places his foot on Sean's arm and applies all his weight, leaving the poor boy writhing in agony. Before leaving, they make sure Sean knows this is how adults handle things. When everyone is gone, Sean pops his shoulder back into place and mocks the adults, saying they don't know the difference between a dislocated joint and a broken one. He also says that this is nothing compared to the beatings Aunt Rachel used to give him. Despite not getting angry at a beating, Sean is frustrated that he can't use his full strength without orders, but this should calm things down, and Yusef should be less arrogant. It would be a problem to have to change identities if things got more serious. While grumbling, he runs into Hyunho's mother. She recognizes him and asks what happened. Sean was caught off guard this time, and because of that, he ended up accepting the invitation to dinner. Hyunho's mother prepared sausages for him. He wasn't hungry, but when the mother told him to eat a lot, it sounded like an order in his mind. The command was given, so he obeyed and ate as much as he could. He was like a snake after eating a whale, almost bursting. After everything that happened, he was worried about Hyunho's health. The lady doesn't show her face and remains silent for some time until she says that he's fine. The surgery went well, and now he's recovering. The mother says her son is strong and will recover. Then, her strength seems to give way, and her hand shows it before her tears fall. She cries, feeling powerless as a mother. Her deepest desire was to destroy everything and everyone. She wanted to tear and crush that father too. At that moment, my intuition says that this was an order, and Sean eagerly accepted it. When the lady turned to see her son's only friend, the boy had already disappeared. Perhaps if he hadn't, the orders might have been cancelled by her. The scene then shifts to Byung-woo Company. Inside the building, the father makes a toast to celebrate the record profit they achieved in the third quarter of this year. He warmly thanks all his employees, saying that it's thanks to them that Byung-woo Construction has come so far. Among the employees, we notice a young man serving drinks. He then served one of the men more intensely. Sean had infiltrated among them, and now he had orders that authorized him to do what he had wanted from the beginning. The brute stumbles backward and quickly prepares for a counterattack, but Sean throws the glasses at the guy's fists, rendering him unable to retaliate. With a brutal kick, he hits the bastard's face. Then, Sean grabs some forks and knives and throws them at the security guards with deadly precision. They hit their targets perfectly. It doesn't take long for everyone to realize that something is happening. Before they can do anything, several of the men in black suits are already down, and people start screaming about a blonde boy causing all this chaos. He grabs the cutlery, and the men around him don't even realize their eyes are skewered like olives on a plate. The thugs lost sight of the blonde boy. When Byung-woo heard about a blonde-haired boy, he might have been shocked, his strange face making it hard to tell his emotions. Sean was hiding under a table, saying to himself that the first principle states that the father's orders are absolute. She explicitly said she wanted to tear and crush that father. All of these guards are here to protect their boss and are just obstacles. With the tablecloth, he hits some and knocks others out with the table. The guards try to hit him with anything possible, but they can't. The leader appears again and says it's amazing that he dodged that and questions the arm, certain that he broke it. While still looking in Sean's direction, he says he's going to do it right this time, but before he can look down, the boy strikes him directly and then grabs his arm. Calmly, he says that this is how you break an arm. With a sound that even you could imagine, the leader of the guards was defeated. A bullet grazes his ear, actually scraping his cheek. The one responsible for this was his target. The man questions why he missed even from such a close distance. Sean says that, in fact, at that distance, to hit, you need to be a professional. Byung-woo curiously asks if the boy is a professional. Today's young Koreans are involved in something called gangs. Is he part of that? Our protagonist replies that if he belongs to any group, it would be Hyunho's snack shop. This surprises the wealthy man. That filthy, smelly place in the alley? Byung-woo places the barrel on his forehead and asks if that old woman sent him to kill him. The direct answer is no. She ordered that he be torn and crushed. Sean quickly disarms him and punches Byung-woo in the face. To this day, he's hit all kinds of people in the face, and no one has ever done that to him, so he wasn't going to fall with just that. While holding his clothes, he cursed him and wanted to know if this was revenge. Sean smashed his nose with all his might and replied no, it's just the first principle. Byung-woo lost his first adult tooth. Sean then said the first principle, a father's orders are absolute. The man was torn and crushed. Sean had fulfilled his order. Byung-woo, lying on the ground, says he should have taken care of him and that woman back then, which is why he believes things shouldn't be done twice. So he will definitely kill them this time. Sean coldly says that the third principle is that if there is a threat to the parent's safety, it must be neutralized. When the chandelier falls, our protagonist says like father, like son. The two are the same and will share the same fate. We return to the hospital, where the nurse asks Yusef if he's feeling better. The guy is as arrogant as ever. The nurse comments that she's heard that school violence is getting pretty scary scary these days. She's never seen anyone as badly injured as him before. She wonders if the boy who beat him must be really good at fighting. While she grabs something to relieve his pain, this sight relieves other things in Yusef and in those of you watching. Tell me if I'm right. She then picks up the syringe and asks Yusef what he was discussing with his father earlier about some 3 principles. Noticing the strange color of the injection, Yusef questions what the hell she is injecting into him. The nurse then removes her mask and reassures him, telling him not to worry, only half of it won't kill him. Now he must answer her questions. What was that about the 3 principles? Yusef couldn't hold the contents of his bladder and screamed that he didn't know anything about it. Then Rachel removes her wig and asks if he was talking about the boy Cheyenne. And now it's revealed that Rachel's specialty is interrogation and torture, besides being quite a sight, of course. Shortly after, Rachel calls the director. She went to Byung-woo's company and says that the codename Sean seems to have used his abilities. The director is shocked by this news, and Rachel explains that she rushed to the location where Sean was last reported, but by the time she arrived, he was already gone. The place was in chaos, with people severely injured, but that should have been impossible due to the 3 principles. The director is confused, saying this has never happened at the Mansion of Death. He says Sean is ignoring the 3 absolute principles, so this is no longer a simple case of recovering a valuable product. If the weapons of the Mansion of Death start ignoring commands, it will be the end of their reputation. Because of this, the priest says that from now on, Rachel's mission will change. Investigating Sean is now the priority. She must find out if he is indeed ignoring control and using his abilities. Meanwhile, give me a rating from 0 to 10 for Rachel. While our goddess was working, the White Tiger Central team approached her to offer help with whatever she needed. She tells the priest that she has already found the 2 men he warned would make contact. Despite the men's warning, Rachel paid them no attention and was about to leave. The 2 asked if this is how Russians dress over there, but even that didn't catch her attention. The next day, we return to school, and it seems Rachel has taken on the role of a teacher at the school where Sean studies. She's there to investigate more deeply what Sean is up to, and just thinking about it already excites her. She's eager to see how he's grown and perhaps excited about other things. In the old days, Sean was her best student. He learned everything faster than everyone else, so she's really looking forward to seeing him again. When she arrives outside the classroom, she spots Sean. He's in the middle of a story about how Yusef was begging for forgiveness and that it was all his fault. Rachel is completely shocked by his behavior and struggles to accept if this vulgar boy is really Sean. Suddenly, a muscular boy sitting behind Sean gets irritated and wakes up to their conversation. The 2 start staring each other down, and Rachel wonders if this is a fight for the hierarchy of the place. She remembers how, at the Mansion of Death, they did this every year, a fight to determine who was at the top. It was so cute when they challenged her for power too, but now she didn't find anything cute about what she just saw.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Her Sean got beaten badly by such a weak guy. The chubby boy continues kicking and hitting Sean as if he were a sack of potatoes, and Sean was begging him not to break his bones. Rachel has never been so disappointed in her entire life. She continued watching, and Rachel began to realize that Sean was probably not using his powers because he was hiding his true identity. This makes her think he might still be under the control of the 3 principles, but she's not sure and wants to keep an eye on him. She can see Sean's sharp and sophisticated eyes. The children of the dead mansion were supposed to have both physical strength and intelligence, and Sean always stood out. Even if he's hiding his power, his intelligence still shines. As his former teacher, Rachel is a little worried that he won't be able to disguise himself properly and thinks about teaching him again when she gets the chance. Her disappointment kept growing. He was scribbling the moment he hit Yusef with the fire extinguisher. She thought he was focused on studying, but he was just playing around, so she hits him with a heavy book on the head. In the bathroom, Rachel sits with her head spinning in confusion. She is sure that Sean cannot be this idiot. Rachel starts to think that maybe this is someone else who just looks like him. It's hard for her to accept that he could really be so clueless. She decides to change her plans. Now, it's not just about the 3 principles. She needs to find out if this boy is really the codename Sean, and it will be with this new approach that she will discover it. After class, Sean's head is acting as usual. He remembers that the teacher usually doesn't hit so hard. Meanwhile, Rachel approaches, but he hears a familiar voice. When he turns around, he sees Hyunho's mother standing there. She is relieved to find him here because her bags were heavy, and she asks him to carry them for her. Sean quickly starts carrying the bags, as ordered. Rachel wonders who this person is. When they arrive at the snack shop, Sean devours his food like a wild animal. The mother tells him to slow down, and he follows her advice in silence. Rachel starts to piece things together. She realizes that Yusef was responsible for knocking out this woman's son, but she's still unsure about Sean's connection to them. After seeing him eat this way, she gets furious, realizing that Sean is as vulgar as she suspected and is eager to take down this imposter. Just as Rachel takes a bite of the food, she didn't expect it to be so spicy. She asks for some water or she'll catch fire. The woman quickly hands over the water and asks if she can't handle the spice. Rachel looks so cute while wondering how these people manage to eat such spicy food. She's sure these Koreans are driving themselves crazy. This food could be used to kill someone. Sean then tells her to eat more slowly, stating that she's clumsy. This pushes Rachel to the limit of her irritation. She says this imposter is killing her. Thinking about it, she remembers that Sean couldn't handle spicy food either. She always had to hold his hand when he trained to eat spicy food. If he's still in Korea, he must be struggling with their cuisine. When she thought about it, the girl noticed that his hand was trembling. She is smart and must be drawing dozens of conclusions from this. He's resisting the spicy food because of this person. Rachel thinks that if he doesn't like it, then he should just refuse and not eat. But at that moment, she had an epiphany. Back then, she asked him to help and he accepted. She asked him to eat when they arrived, and he accepted, even knowing it was extremely spicy. He happily follows all of this woman's requests. But this doesn't make sense with what she saw earlier. He used abilities in that job, so if it was a command, how could this woman have given that order to him? As much as it doesn't make sense, ordering him to eliminate Byung-woo, he is definitely following her commands. Rachel pays for the food, and as Hyunho's mother turns to get the change, Rachel sees her chance. She grabs a chopstick and throws it toward the woman. Just as she expected, Sean leaps from his seat, intercepts the chopstick in midair, and grabs the woman by the face. The chair next to them falls, and quickly they disappear. When the woman turns around, both are already gone. When we finally see them again, Rachel can't contain her excitement, realizing that it's definitely Sean. On the other hand, it doesn't take long for our protagonist to figure out who she is, asking how long Aunt Rachel is going to keep following him. The woman can't hide the emotion in her eyes. Something tells me this happiness of hers goes beyond the normal. Rachel greets him and asks why he is following that woman's orders as if she were his mother. She's sure there's no way a rundown snack shop owner is connected to a top boy from the dead mansion. Sean lies and says he doesn't know what she's talking about, so Rachel decides to act. She grabs his hand, throws him into the air, and slams him to the ground like a bag of trash. Judging by his groans of pain, that hurt a lot. Rachel then tells him to stop playing around. Sitting on him like this only confirms even more that her desire to bring him back is for several reasons. She also says there's a whole line of clients waiting for him. The protagonist's mind is filled with painful memories that were buried. He's standing among several other orphans and was probably responsible for leaving them like that during training. There's also this mysterious woman who gave him the name Park Sean, but these memories now he can't recall intentionally. In a sudden outburst, Sean headbutts Rachel's nose and pushes her away as he gets up. While she wipes the blood from her nose, her fury ignites. She demands to know if he really doesn't want to go back without a fight. But before she can act, Sean has already fled. He's running across the rooftops, shocked that they sent Rachel after him. The image of the bloodied woman keeps flashing in his mind, and now he's curious about who that woman is and why he doesn't remember. Back at the dead mansion, the director is having a complete meltdown after hearing the news that Sean managed to escape. Rachel apologizes, saying he got away while she was momentarily distracted, but she also brings good news. They have located the old woman who is controlling Sean with the 3 principles. It turns out she's the one Sean recognizes as his father. The director is perplexed. How can an old woman be seen as a father? He asks Rachel if the old woman is intentionally using the 3 principles, but Rachel admits that she can't be sure yet and that more investigation is needed before drawing conclusions. The director decides it's better to check things with the old woman before sending more resources after Sean. After a change of clothes, Rachel exits the bathroom disguised as this old lady, leaving another woman confused, who could have sworn she saw a young woman enter the bathroom earlier. Meanwhile, the director is busy explaining to us that there are only 2 ways to retrieve a good child from their parents, and soon we will learn about the first method. Back at the snack shop, the woman is surprised by the appearance of this elegant lady. Rachel, in disguise, sternly advises advises Hyunho's mother to keep her distance from Sean. She's his mother and was away on business trips. She also says she can't believe her son has been eating this spicy food. Hyunho's mother didn't know Sean didn't like spicy food and feels guilty for making him eat it all the time. Rachel is smiling. Getting the parent to voluntarily give up custody of the child is the first way to retrieve a child from their parents, and that's what Rachel is trying to achieve. So, she continues her smooth talk, saying she understands that Sean listens to Hyunho's mother and tells her that when Sean comes to eat there, she should sternly tell him never to come back and to go home. Rachel says that's all, but the woman says she can't agree to that. She says that Rachel claimed to have been away on business trips, so the woman asks if Rachel looked into her son's eyes or talked to him since she returned. His clothes were always dirty, and he was injured. Sean said he had fallen or things like that. Always the same things her son Hyunho also said. That's why she doesn't want him to end up the same way as her son. She refuses to send him away. Sean needs someone who can truly keep an eye on him. She is willing to take responsibility and care for him since Rachel is too busy and doesn't have time for him. Rachel is clearly irritated to hear this, but Hyunho's mother just bows her head and apologizes, saying she didn't mean to be rude, but she is determined to take care of Sean no matter what. It seems Rachel's first plan didn't go as expected, and she's furious. By nightfall, she calls the director and reports the failed attempt. The director seems disappointed to hear this and is clearly losing patience, so he authorizes her to proceed with the second method. Rachel, now fully committed to this plan, removes her clothes to reveal her wild rose side. The new plan is that with the death of the parents, the child returns to the possession of the dead mansion. So, her new target is Hyunho's mother. The scene shifts to outside a market, where Hyunho's mother is shopping for her store, and Rachel is stalking the woman. She waits for the perfect moment, with her finger on the button to detonate a bomb. When she decides it's the right time, she presses the button, and the explosion echoes through the air. Fire alarms go off, and sprinklers start drenching everything. But the explosion wasn't aimed at the old woman. It was just a distraction. When Rachel's weapon appears, she prepares to fire. Just as she pulls the trigger, Sean emerges with a pot as a shield, and the bullet ricochets. Sean's face is furious because the third principal is being threatened. This sight makes Rachel very happy. Our protagonist says he saw this in a game and decided to try it. Lucky that it actually works. He then drops the pot and walks toward Rachel, clearly irritated by her actions, as if he already knew she would do something like this. But he reminds her that involving guns and bombs is overkill. Rachel, with the guns still aimed at the woman, Sean reacts quickly and pushes the shelf behind which Rachel was hiding, but the girl dodges before the shelf hits her. The protagonist surprises her and disarms her with just a kick to her hand, but Rachel pulls out a dagger, swinging it at him and cutting his belly. Blood splatters on the floor, or at least it seems so. In reality, it was just a can of tomato sauce. This happens a lot in movies. Sean throws the can away. He quickly tries to knee her, but she ducks and sweeps his feet, making him fall into the shelves. She then asks if he really thinks he can take down his teacher this way. She says she wanted to bring him back without injuries, but it seems that's no longer an option. Meanwhile, Hyunho's mother is still trying to understand what's happening, and that's when she sees a child trapped in the chaos, crying amidst the confusion. He's sobbing, calling for his mother. The woman runs to him, asking if he's hurt. The crying boy only says he wants to go back to his mother and asks for help to get out of there. But in reality, this little monster is holding a knife. So did you realize this is the same boy from the beginning? That boy lost his father in the accident and returned to the orphanage. Rachel probably sent him here to help in her mission to eliminate the innocent woman. However, the little one was holding a sharp knife. Meanwhile, in the battle between veterans and newcomers, Rachel draws another knife and tries to attack Sean, but he quickly jumps out of reach. She attempts another strike, but he ducks and dodges. Sean grabs her hand, and Rachel tells him to stop resisting, as they only want to free him from everyone's control. At that moment, Sean gets distracted for a brief second, and Rachel seizes the opportunity. She pulls her hand and swings the dagger toward his face, cutting his cheek with frightening precision. Sean stumbles but quickly regains his balance. He grabs two cans from a nearby shelf and throws them at Rachel, but she easily dodges them, saying he should just let the old woman die. If he did that, he could return to the dead mansion whenever he wanted. Sean then grabs a bag of flour and throws it in her face. Rachel, making a mistake, cuts the bag open, causing the flour to spread into the air and block her vision. While she struggled to breathe, she didn't notice the scissors coming her way, but thanks to her quick reflexes, she narrowly avoided a severe injury, ending up with just a small cut on her face and slightly trimmed hair. Rachel quickly backs off, but Sean hits her again. She falls to the ground but gets up with a maniacal smile and charges at him with her blades. The forces seem balanced, or maybe Sean is already better than his mentor. Before she could plan her next move, Sean grabs her hand and pushes her into a shopping cart, trapping her there like a small child. Sean, with a cold look, asks if she learned her lesson, but Rachel just mutters in frustration. He then tells her to leave him and his mother alone, pushing the cart into a line of other carts, locking her in, and with a smile, tells her to have fun before leaving her trapped and grumbling. Back to the little maniac, he sees his chance and swings his dagger toward Rachel's chest while she's distracted, but Sean arrives just in time, leaving the boy stunned. Hyunho's mother, confused, asks why he's there when he should be at school and why his clothes are so dirty. Meanwhile, the boy on the ground recognizes Sean as the legend of the dead mansion and realizes that if Sean is there, Rachel must have already been defeated. But the boy acts as if he doesn't know and starts crying falsely while running towards Hyunho's mother. Sean quickly grabs him, lifts him, and tells him to stop crying. He approaches the boy's ear and playfully threatens him with enigmatic words, giving him a light slap that makes the dagger the boy was holding drop. Sean steps on the dagger to hide it, and the slap is enough to make the boy pass out. After this confrontation, we return to the dead mansion. The director wakes up in the middle of the night due to an unexpected phone call. Grumbling, he puts on his robe and answers the phone, expecting to receive good news that justifies being woken up so early. Hearing the voice on the line, a smile spreads across his face as he recognizes it's Sean. Sean asks the old man if he really thought he could catch him with just Rachel and that boy Eugene. The old man's face pales as he asks if Rachel is dead. Sean doesn't respond directly, only saying that no matter how many people he sends, the result will always be the same. The old man is shaken, hearing that Sean is facing the entire dead mansion instead of running away. Sean makes it clear that if there's a threat to the parents' safety, he will act based on the third principle. He's more than ready to follow the rules because he sees the dead mansion as a real threat and will react accordingly. The old man, now on the floor and naked, opens a wide smile and starts laughing maniacally, exultant to see that the boy he created is surpassing his expectations. He thinks of Sean as a divine gift, perfectly following the three principles. He wishes Sean good luck and tells him to send the boy back, promising not to attack the woman if Sean does so. Sean then tells the old man to call Rachel back, and the director becomes even more excited, barely able to wait to meet him face to face. Sean wakes Eugene, and as soon as the little brat opens his eyes, he's on high alert. Sean informs him that he has already removed all the weapons he was hiding, so he better save his breath instead of looking for them. He also tells the boy to eat the food, as he hasn't eaten anything. Eugene hesitates at first but soon devours everything in no time. When they're about to leave, Sean asks if he liked the food, but the grumpy boy responds that he didn't. Sean then points out that if he didn't like it, he wouldn't have devoured it like a starving animal. While they were arguing, Rachel finally appears and seems relieved to see the boy is alive. She calls Eugene, who humbly walks towards her. Sean tells Rachel to grab the food and make sure to fill her belly, but the woman gives him a cold look, saying he shouldn't act so calm and collected because she hasn't given up on him yet. She walks away, stating that they will meet again soon. Rachel then scolds Eugene, asking why an annoying brat like him couldn't take down the old woman. Eugene apologizes for failing, and Rachel, irritated, dismisses him, stating that useless brats like him should have been eliminated long ago. Her words make the boy tremble, and he apologizes again. Then, Sean calls the boy back, asking if the tteokbokki he ate was tasty and warns that he's asking for the last time, so he should answer wisely. The boy, with tears in his eyes, says it was delicious. That's all Sean wanted to hear, and he wastes no time telling Eugene that they're going back to Hyunho's snack bar to savor that delicacy again. Before we delve into the story, here's a summary of Eugene's past. As you may already know, the children of the dead mansion belong to the buyers or parents. If these parents die, ownership returns to the dead mansion. Eugene was adopted several times, but whenever his parents died, he returned. This cycle continued, and after yet another return due to the death of his last owner, the director was disappointed and muttered about how many times this had happened. The boy quickly replied that it was the fourth time, but the old man reprimanded him, saying he hadn't asked. The director stated that they would continue to profit by sending Eugene to new families, but failing to keep his parents alive 4 times was the worst disgrace in the history of the Dead Mansion. He didn't hesitate to remind Eugene that if this continued, they would have no choice but to eliminate him. The old man asked the boy if he knew what happened to children who were eliminated, and with those small graves behind him, the boy could practically guess what was coming. The old man said he would need to become someone important, that he had one last chance: go to Korea and help Rachel catch Sean. If he messed this up too, he would definitely be done. In the present, Rachel coldly reminds Eugene that he is now considered disposable. Terrified and desperate to prove himself, the boy begs for one more chance. Rachel just gives him a cold look while the boy despairs over what's coming. Sean intervenes to save the boy, asking if he wants to enjoy some delicious food again. The cruel woman takes advantage of the opportunity and tells the boy that he has been given one last chance and needs to kill the old woman. Hearing this, the boy, on the verge of tears, realizes he has been granted one last chance to prove his worth. He starts crying and quickly says the food was delicious. While we thought the boy was happy because Sean wanted to free him, in reality, he was grateful for one more chance at redemption. On the other hand, Sean cracks his knuckles, ready to take the boy back to Hyunho's snack bar. Rachel realizes he still sees her as a threat to the parents, so she's sure he's prepared to fight if necessary, even if she handed Eugene over willingly. Rachel acts dramatically, asking why Sean is taking the boy after promising to let them go if they spared the old woman. Sean simply shrugs and says the boy wants to stay on his own, and since he finds the food delicious, he has no choice but to take him with him. Finally, she relents and decides to let Eugene go with Sean. Before the boy goes to Sean, Rachel enigmatically reminds him that this is his last chance and that he must make the most of it. If you who are watching were also moved, please leave your comment and like the video to help me continue this story.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. Leave a like if you enjoyed it and share with your friends. See you in the next video. Bye for now.